Welcome back to StarHush, where the real tea never stays hidden for long.
In order to live a life that you love, you have to get rid of the evil and the negativity, even if that evil and negativity is related. We want everyone to live a life that you love. Our hashtag is what it means. Hashtag I love our life. But in order to do that, you have to get rid of all that evil and negativity. There's so many angry and upset and negative people out there. We want to use our platform as a place of positivity.
Brian McKnight here. There's been a lot of discussion online lately about how I talk about my family on social media. Typically, I prefer not to give attention to the internet trolls, but now my family is being harassed online and accosted in public, apparently because some people can't handle seeing my happily ever after. Coming after me is one thing, but the moment you come after my wife and our children, it's another story, because even more important to me than defending my name is defending and protecting them. I want to address some of these recent discussions. There is a very simple reason why I post about some of my children on social media and not others. The children that I do not currently have relationships with, I don't post about them. Instead, I post about the children with whom I do have relationships, with whom I am proud of. I never abandoned anyone. Our estrangement was mutual, but those posts made any roads towards reconciliation and acknowledging them a dead issue. And I changed my will the next day. I've spent the last 30 plus years building a recognized, respectable name, and ironically, there are still people out there who are trying to smear my name while still carrying it, hoping to use it for their own benefit. I make absolutely no apologies for naming my infant son Brian. I want him and the world to know that he is the one who is my true legacy. So I'll be over here, continuing to love and protect my wife and our children as we continue to love our life.
So all day, I said to myself I wasn't going to post about this. And as the day wore on, I realized that how could I not post about this? This morning I found out that my nephew, Niko McKnight, passed away. He'd been bravely battling cancer for the last 2 years or so. And I have a lot of feelings right now. I'm not going off the script or anything like that. I'm just going to be raw with how I'm feeling. Niko was one of those amazing kids who was quirky and curious and ridiculously talented. Amazing singer, an amazing guitar player, had a great eye, was a photographer. And just one of those kids that, at least in my estimation, was somebody you always wanted to be around. And so it really sucks that he's no longer with us.
Brian McKnight is catching serious heat after his ex-wife pulled the curtain back on something heartbreaking. She's calling him out, saying he straight up refused to help their son Niko when he was fighting for his life. And now, she's putting the blame for Niko's tragic passing squarely on Brian's shoulders. Niko recently passed away after a long and painful struggle with cancer. And now the whole family is pointing fingers at Brian, saying he turned his back when they needed him most. People online are stunned, asking how a parent could stay so cold during something this serious. But that's just the start. It gets even messier. Brian's been distant from his family for a while, but now they're stepping out and dropping the bombshells. According to them, it wasn't just neglect. Folks are whispering that Brian may have even gone out of his way to block Niko from getting the medical care he needed. That's beyond heartbreaking. His ex-wife isn't holding back, and neither are the rest of the family. They're speaking up with raw, emotional truth, and what they're saying will leave you speechless. One of them even said Brian didn't lift a finger while Niko was hanging on by a thread. That kind of betrayal? It's got people absolutely furious. So let's get into it. Niko was first diagnosed with cancer a couple years ago. There was hope at first. He even showed signs of getting better. But now looking back, the truth behind the scenes is way darker than anyone imagined. Things took a heartbreaking turn when Niko's mom, Julie McKnight, broke the news on social media, and it stunned everyone, surrounded by people who truly loved him. But guess who wasn't by Niko's side in his final moments? His own father, Brian. That's right. Julie posted a touching message saying, "It is with profound sadness that Julie McKnight and family announced the passing of her beloved son, Cole Nicholas McKnight, affectionately known as Niko, on Thursday, May 29th, 2025. She shared that Niko was not only a devoted husband and a loyal family man, he was also the kind of person whose laughter and love made people feel at home. He was a gifted artist, teaching himself music and photography, and his spirit left a mark on everyone he met. His absence is a huge loss, not just to the family, but to everyone who ever knew him." Julie asked for privacy and continued prayers as the family works through this painful loss. She thanked fans, friends, and the public for their love during this tough time, calling the support a blessing from Mama Bear and the rest of the family. But here's where things hit even harder. Niko, during his final days, shared with those around him that he wanted to fix things with his dad. He had hopes, real emotional hopes, of reconnecting with Brian before it was too late. Can you imagine that? Fighting for his life and still thinking about making peace with the man who wasn't even there? That's what truly breaks hearts. Niko didn't stay silent. He put his pain out there for the world to see, posting from his hospital bed with raw honesty. One of his posts read, "When I was about to die in the hospital from complications with my cancer, I just wanted to bury the hatchet, to hear him say he loves me." But then Niko revealed that Brian told him he couldn't just say he loved him, like that kind of love had conditions. That left Niko crushed. And it still hurt him deeply even while fighting for his life. In another post, Niko shared something that really shook people. He wrote, "Sometimes I wonder if my dad's karma is my close proximity to death. Like maybe if I end up dying, it'll release him from his grip of evil." That's heavy. He even said all he wanted was one last group hug with his brother, his mom, and yes, even his dad. Just one final moment together. He admitted how embarrassed he felt about how things went down with Brian. Facing something as serious as what Niko was going through made everything clear for him. And what mattered most? Family. He said he missed everyone so much and just wanted that feeling of unity again. But sadly, that wish never came true. Most parents would drop everything to be by their loved one's side in a moment like that, especially if it's their last wish. But Brian, he didn't budge. Fans couldn't believe it. People were already criticizing him for walking away from his older kids, but ignoring a sick son during such a critical time. That hit differently, and it lit up the internet with anger. When the backlash came hard, Brian tried to patch things up. He claimed that he and his current wife did offer to help pay for Niko's medical treatment when they found out he was going through it financially. But Julie McKnight, she wasn't having it. Not for a second. She stepped in fast to shut down Brian's attempt to play the good guy. He tried to paint himself as someone who cared, but Julie came through and called him out hard. According to her, Brian never offered to help pay for anything, not even once. And it gets worse. Julie revealed that Niko had reached out to Brian personally, trying to make peace before it was too late. And Brian? He straight up told Niko he had no interest in rebuilding a relationship, even while his son was seriously ill. That kind of coldness, it's left people shocked. Speaking to Page 6, Julie didn't hold back. She said, "This is once again a response to Brian dragging myself and my family into his false narrative. He's a liar." Whew, she said it with her chest, and fans were quick to back her up. People believe Julie 100%, and it's not hard to see why. Brian's track record tells the whole story. For years now, he's been at odds with his own family, and there's been drama all over social media. Niko even called him out publicly for acting like he didn't exist. And Brian, he never even tried to deny it. What's even more wild is that Brian never seemed embarrassed by the way he treated his older kids. Nope. He actually doubled down and acted like he had a reason to walk away. Remember when he went online last year and said he left them behind because he was removing evil from his life? Yeah, he really said that. He even claimed they were the result of a past he wanted to forget, calling them a product of sin. That's the kind of energy he was putting out there.
So lastly this week, I want to big up my man right here. See, he gets it. In order to live a life that you love, you have to get rid of the evil and the negativity, even if that evil and negativity is related. We want everyone to live a life that you love. Our hashtag, that's what it means. Hashtag I live our life. But in order to do that, you have to get rid of all that evil and negativity. There's so many angry and upset and negative people out there. We want to use our platform as a place of positivity, a positivity platform. So hopefully, who knows, next week, maybe I'll only respond to positive comments.
One fan wasn't about to stay quiet. They jumped into the comments with a whole sermon. The comment read, "The same God that said, 'Honor your father and mother,' also said, 'Children are a gift from the Lord and they are a reward from him. And train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is older, he will not depart from it.' Your children are a reflection of the work, prayers, spirituality, and moral compass that parents pour into them. You disown the kids you created, and you're also going against God. Judgment Day is between you and your maker, so carry on." That message hit hard. But Brian, he hit back with something that left people stunned. He replied, "God wasn't talking about children that are a product of sin, which these are. I didn't raise them, their mothers did. Know the whole story before quoting the Bible. Take your inaccurate negativity off my page and try being happy." People couldn't believe he typed that publicly, and with no shame. Imagine going online and calling your own kids a product of sin, especially when you were married to their mother at the time. Legally, spiritually, in every way, they were a family. So, what's the excuse for that kind of talk? But Niko wasn't going to just stay quiet. He clapped back with a jaw-dropping response. He posted, "I'm evil? That's wow. The guy who used to make me clean his used comm out of his bathroom at 15 before Lisa got home is calling me evil. For sure. The guy who forged signatures on our names is calling us evil. For a show." Now that comment, that had people frozen in disbelief. It was raw, it was personal, and it clearly came from years of pain and frustration boiling over. Niko wasn't about to let his father rewrite history in front of everybody, and honestly, based on Brian's recent behavior, fans weren't even shocked anymore. The wildest part, folks are now saying he wasn't exactly winning Father of the Year, even back when he was married to Julie. Way back when Brian and Julie were still married, things were already messy. Brian ended up stepping out of the marriage and had a baby girl with someone else, and named her Brianna. But here's the twist. Julie didn't flip out. Instead, she chose Grace, welcomed the child, and treated her like family. That's the level of maturity she showed, even when she didn't have to. But even after that, Brian was the one who filed for divorce in 2003. So yeah, even looking the other way on the cheating didn't keep him around. Life moved forward. Julie stayed focused on her kids. And Brian? He eventually remarried in 2017 to Leilani Mendoza, a woman who already had 2 children from a previous relationship. Together they had a baby boy. Sadly, that child passed away during infancy, a tragic moment for any parent. Later on in 2023, Brian and Leilani had another son and named him Brian McKnight, also known as Brian Jr. That's when things really started to heat up again. Why? Because Brian already had a son from his first marriage with the exact same name. And yet, despite having a Brian Jr. already, he gave the same name to his new baby. Almost like the first one didn't exist. Fans saw that as a major slap in the face to his older kids, and they weren't shy about saying it. But Brian didn't seem to care. In fact, he posted this long emotional tribute to his newborn on Instagram that had people side-eyeing hard. He wrote, "Dear baby Brian, every time I look at you and kiss on you, I'm feeling feelings that I did not know I could possess. An overabundance of love between a father and his legacy that cannot be measured. I never was a sentimental man. Not until I met your mommy and fell head over heels in love with her. Because of our love, I realized my true reason for being on this earth, to be her loving, faithful husband and to create the legacy of that love." He continued, "My namesake, my joy, my baby boy, you. I promise to love, protect, teach, guide, and comfort you every day for the rest of my life. And after I'm gone, I bestow upon you all the fruits of my labor as my true heir. You are perfection, my son. I'm proud to give you my name and just as excited to watch you live up to it." Now look, it's beautiful to be a proud father. No one's knocking that, but what rubbed people the wrong way was how he kept saying he'd never felt this kind of love before, even though he already had multiple children. And calling this new baby his true heir, that sent a loud and clear message whether he meant to or not, and the older kids definitely heard it. Let's be real. Brian saying he was never a sentimental man is straight up wild, considering his whole career was built on love songs and emotional ballads. Like, come on now. All those slow jams and deep lyrics, that was his whole brand. But based on that Instagram post, it felt like he was low-key saying he never had real love until this new baby came around. And that message didn't go unnoticed. It was basically his way of saying he doesn't feel anything for his older kids, which explains how he dipped out of their lives so easily. And when I say he walked away, I mean literally. If you go check his Instagram bio, it says he's the father of Julia, Jack, KKO, Mateo, and Brian Kainoa Makoa. Let's break that down. Julia and Jack, those are his wife Leilani's kids from a previous relationship. KKO is the baby who sadly passed away. Mateo and baby Brian are his kids with Leilani. Nowhere in that list are the kids he had before his second marriage, not even a mention. And let's be real, no one asked him to put all that in his bio. He did it on purpose, and the message was loud. This is the family I claim now. And he doesn't just say it, he shows it. He's constantly out and about with his stepkids, especially his stepson. They've taken international trips together, posted up in matching outfits during the holidays, smiling in all the family pictures. His stepdaughter? He went all out for her birthday, gifted her a whole brand new BMW. That's next level love. Then there's that post he made with his stepdaughter Julia that really got people talking. He wrote, "Jules, I became a girl dad because of you, and I couldn't have asked for a better daughter." Now, what made that post feel extra shady was that he has a biological daughter already, and he emphasized the "you" in all caps. Like, who was that aimed at? Fans caught it right away. It felt like a not so subtle jab. And the backlash didn't just come from strangers. His biological son, Brian McKnight Jr., the original Brian Jr., finally spoke out. And what he said was deep. He posted, "I can't imagine abandoning my children, man. It's hard not to imagine the psyche of a man who can truly just turn his back on his actual sons, on his actual blood and creations. It's mind-boggling to me." He went on, "I don't think there's any situation that justifies how my father has treated my brother, my sisters, and his grandchildren, including his firstborn's firstborn, who also carries our name." Then he dropped the line that hit hard. "They don't deserve this. Not one bit. And I'm not letting it slide, not for 1 second. I've tried to take the high road, be the bigger man. But this is part of a much deeper issue, especially when it comes to black fathers in the entertainment industry, and it needs to be talked about." And if that wasn't enough, Brian has been so cut off from his past that he's never even met his grandson, his own firstborn's child. Let that sink in. This whole situation, it's honestly like 50 shades of straight up messy and painful. And just when you think the heartbreak couldn't go any deeper, Brian's daughter Brianna stepped up and shared her truth. And wow, it hit hard. She opened up about how being daddy's little girl was never her reality. She wrote, "Daddy's little girl was never really a thing for me. I grew up thinking that the things that happened to me and my dad's relationship were my fault. I grew up thinking that he doesn't want to come visit me because he doesn't love me." Brianna said she constantly felt pushed aside, always placed behind other kids Brian chose to embrace as his own, while she was just forgotten. Cast into a land far, far away, as she put it, tucked in the back of his mind, like she never mattered. She said what stung the most was knowing that people who weren't even blood related to him got all the love, attention, and priority, while she sat there hoping for even a sliver of that same care. "It sucks knowing that my phone calls have to go through a stranger I barely know," she wrote, "and my text messages are read without a response." Even her stepmother chimed in to say they wish the best for her, but that's all she got. No real connection, no love, no effort. Brianna didn't stop there. She continued, "My father hasn't called to wish me a happy birthday in years. And yet I sit by the phone every single year hoping that one day his heart will change." That line alone had people in their feelings, because that kind of hope after all that silence is heartbreaking. But despite all the pain, she found some light. Brianna said she's grateful for her two brothers, the ones who stepped up and became father figures in her life. "They celebrate me and love me every single day," she said. "Together they've been trying to rebuild what was lost. Losing Niko only made everything more raw, more real, and more painful." And here's the part that really has folks talking. Brian definitely saw these posts. They went viral, plastered all over social media with thousands of shares. There's no way he missed it. But instead of reaching out to his kids, instead of trying to make things right, Brian did something else. He put out a video to address everything. And let's just say it didn't help. If anything, it made things worse. The vibe? Cold, dismissive, like he still didn't understand the pain he caused. Honestly, he might have been better off just staying quiet.
Tough love is a tough thing as a parent to try to institute to your children because you want to help them as much as you can, and I did as much as I possibly could. When I stopped doing that for them, BJ was 25 and Niko was 22. And it wasn't like I completely cut them off at that point. That happened much later.
Now look, at first glance, some folks might have been willing to give Brian the benefit of the doubt, wanting your kids to grow up independent, not relying on your wallet for everything. Okay, that part could maybe make sense, but here's the real problem. That still doesn't explain why he completely cut his older kids out of his life like they don't even exist. We're not just talking about financial support. We're talking about emotional connection, phone calls, birthday wishes, basic stuff a parent should do no matter what. And here's what made people raise eyebrows for real. While he was giving his stepdaughter a whole BMW and jet setting overseas with his stepson, his biological kids couldn't even get a call back. Nothing. Not a dollar, not a how are you, not even a moment of his time. How do you go all out for the stepkids and act like your own kids were never born? Make it make sense. And just when you thought it couldn't get more twisted, yeah, it actually does.
Along the way, a couple years ago, I got wind that there was an older cousin who was above 18 who was quite possibly having sex with her. So I called, as a father should, to the state office for children's affairs there in Arizona, and I never heard anything back. But the next thing that her mother did was to block all of us from her social media, from her phone, and completely estranged her from us. What that told me was they didn't want me to be involved in her life that way. So to see the post that she said, considering that her mother only had a child with me for money in the first place,
So here's where things hit a whole new level of messed up. Brian reportedly cut off his own daughter just because things went sour between him and her mom. That's right, he completely distanced himself from his daughter, even when there were serious concerns going on in her life, including troubling allegations involving someone close to the family. And instead of stepping in to support and protect her, he vanished. That's the moment any real father would have shown up stronger than ever. That's the time to be present, not to walk away. But Brian, he used the drama with her mom as an excuse to disappear, like that somehow justified turning his back on his own child. And let's talk about that petty comment he made online, accusing her mother of only being with him for the money. That had nothing to do with the situation at hand, and it came off as bitter and totally off base. Bringing that up when people were talking about why he wasn't there for his daughter just made him look even worse. So, yeah, when Julie said he abandoned Niko, even after Niko reached out and asked to reconnect, people didn't need much convincing. It lined up. Not helping with cancer treatment, that's already cold. But ignoring your own son's final wish, that's just next level heartbreaking. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more heartbreaking, reports are now saying that Niko's widow is allegedly drowning in medical bills because he didn't have insurance when he got sick. Imagine going through the loss of your husband and facing massive debt at the same time. That's pain on top of pain. To make it even worse, Brian still hasn't reached out. No phone call, no message, no visit, nothing. According to sources close to the family, even after Niko passed, Brian didn't contact anyone. He didn't attend. He didn't show face. He stayed silent. But Niko? He wasn't alone. He passed surrounded by real love, the kind that matters. His mother, Julie McKnight, was there. His brother, Brian McKnight Jr., was by his side. His wife, Carla, stood strong, and the extended family pulled together through all the pain. So while Brian stayed distant, Niko had support from the people who truly cared. This whole situation? Just a straight up tragedy. Family drama like this always hits different. And honestly, it's going to be very interesting to see how Brian tries to flip this one and paint himself as the good guy. Because right now, it's not looking great. But hey, my stars and hushers, tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think there's any coming back from this? Hit that like button if you felt this story. Subscribe for more of the real tea. And don't forget to tap the bell so you don't miss what's next. Trust me, if you thought this was wild, wait until you see what's coming in the next video. See you next time.